So I help out at this school called Zeta. It's one school in 3 locations, in Inwood, the other one's in Mount Eden, the other one is in the South Bronx, which is where I currently reside right now. And the kids get out very, very early, you know, during the school year. As soon as the summer come in, it's like they're on their way out for summer break. But public school, they're still, you know, in school at the time. And that means that they come back very, very early, you know? And at the time that I'm recording this, it is Sunday, July 28th. And during the time that the kids are out, before they get back, a lot of the teachers who have been promoted are being trained, and all of that's happening that will cause us all to have to be there to help accommodate them. And upon welcoming them, I came across this brother that was very, very special, man. When he first saw me, he came to sign his book, and he was like, yo, listen, you really, really like your job. Because I said, good morning, welcome, glad to have you all. That's all I said. Yeah, I just love people. I just love to make people day. I like to, you know, make people smile and make them feel good about themselves. 3 weeks have gone by, and he comes back to me and he says, hey, I've heard that you have a podcast. I was like, oh yeah. And I'm wondering, like, how did you hear about it? Like, who told you? I never spoke to you. You know, we just said hello, and, you know, from time to time we say hello and we say goodbye. Make a long story short and a short story shorter. You know, he says, listen, what can I do to be on your podcast? And I'm like, I think he's pulling my leg because, number one, there are many people who had asked me the same question, you know? And I'm like, maybe he's just being nice. I was like, look, you know what? I just threw it back at him. I says, how about whatever day that you feel that you could make it, and I'll just make it happen. How about that? He's like, okay, cool. Now, this is around Monday or Tuesday. He says, well, what about Thursday? I was like, okay, well, Thursday it is. Okay, no problem, you know? I still think he's pulling my leg because I'm like, he's going to get caught up into something because, you know, he's a teacher, or he may be, you know, operations or whatever the case would be. I'm sure something's going to come up as to where he's going to have to cancel or postpone. So Thursday come, and I was off. I wasn't there, but I still agreed to meet him. He says, okay. So I text him that morning. I says, hey, man, very, very excited about later on today. We're supposed to, you know, meet up at about 4:30. But then he texted me back and said, I just found out that they're taking us to a dinner right after our last session. So now that gave me indication that, okay, so it must be the last day for the teachers to be at the Zeta school, you know? Let me give you some context. You know, even though that they're one school with 3 locations, when it's time for training, they all link up at one location, no matter what. All of the teachers, all the faculties, all the operations, they come to one location. They happen to be at the South Bronx location at the time. And that's the reason why I got a chance to meet him. He says, well, after we finish eating, do you think that we could still, you know, take care of the podcast? He says, it might be about 8:30 or 8:15 or 8 o'clock rather. I don't want to put no words in his mouth, about 8 o'clock. I was like, okay, sure, no problem. So when we met up, we decided to meet at the hotel where the other 3 colleagues were staying. So now that gave me indication, oh, he don't live out here. And I'm saying to myself, but I thought Zeta schools were only in New York. I didn't know them to be out of the States and stuff like that. I said, well, he would know better than me, right? The lobby area was fire, and it was a nice area for me to set up the camera and the lights, you know, lavalier him up, lavalier me up. So as I was setting up, he was like, yo, you want a soda or something like that, or something to eat? I said, I would love me a Pepsi. I love Pepsi, by the way, y'all. By the time he got back, I was already set up. I'm ready to press record. I got all of the questions about teachers and education. He says, but what I want you to know is that not a teacher. I am the CEO and founder of a school in Texas, and we're about to cut the ribbon in just a few days. It was the best interview I've had in a long time. I was looking at Mr. Chris Doe. Shout out to Chris Doe. He says somebody had asked him, would you rather be a big thing, a part of a small thing, or would you rather be a small thing, a part of a big thing? He said, I'd rather be a small thing, a part of a big thing, because at least there's growth. That's not his exact words, but that's essentially what he was saying. And I said to myself, this young man is a big thing, a part of a small thing, at the present time. But because he's a visionary, he's able to see things no matter what it looked like at the time. And I was just so happy and elated, with much gratitude for him to want to be a part of my platform, someone of his status. And even now and still, I'm humbled. So ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I'm saying this is because it's always great to be humble. Being humble will bring you to places you're not even qualified to be in. Will bring you around people you're not even qualified to sit at the table. And that's just straight facts. So look, let me just give you 4 tips, what it is to obtain humility. The first step is don't brag about yourself. If you are achieving something big and great, let everybody else brag about that. Because see, it's sad to know the conversation at the dinner table is geared towards somebody who says, I'm endeavoring to buy a new car. Then all of a sudden you cut across them and you're like, yeah, well, I just bought this car and I just bought that car. Nobody asked you. Learn how to wait your turn. One. Number 2, learn how to be a servant. You know, be the first person to want to do something for somebody. It doesn't always mean to give them money, you know, or give them the shirt off your back, in which that's a great thing. But yo, how about, look, can I go get your groceries? Can I get you a cup of coffee? Number 3, practice gratitude, man. Be grateful and humble about the stuff that you get, you know, and if somebody do something for you, say thank you. It doesn't take anything away from anybody to be nice, man. If somebody decides to give you a gift just to show gratitude, and it might be not to your liking or the color that you like, still take it because it was the thought that mattered. You don't sit there and say, well, look, I don't wear this color, this not me. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for the gesture, but no thank you. That's not humility, and nobody will ever give you anything ever again. Here's the other thing, and last but not least, learn how to be content with what you have for right now. What do I mean by that? I don't mean that learn how to settle. I'm just saying, learn how to be content with what you have, because you know you have the ability to get further than where you are, but you decide to still use what you have right now to continue to save up, but make the best of it, to continue to wear what you wear, but make the best of it. It's a beautiful thing for somebody to look at you, right, not understand your humility, tease you for the same shirt you've been wearing for the past 2 weeks, but then if they took a look at your bank account, it's your boy Donald Francis. Peace.